So hello and welcome back everyone to this another beautiful, wonderful video. In today's video, we are going to learn about a very important stuff before you sit in your examination. Examination days are very near, and whenever we sit in the examination, the one big problem that we feel is we waste a lot of time in answering the question paper. Especially if I talk about company law, 70% of the students who give the company law examination, they come up after the examination, tell me, sir, we did not have much time to answer the entire paper. We have only attempted 80% of the paper. We have only attempted 90% of the paper, and some students only attempt 70% of the paper and expect that they can crack the examination. So the major issue is, especially when we talk about company law or any other subject, is we are not being able to answer the entire question paper due to lack of time management. Now, time management is a skill. We have to understand, we have to learn that how quickly can we answer any question. That is the number one thing. So that is the major topic that we are going to discuss today. Okay. Before discussing that, I would like to address few things. The second most important question which I get from the student is, sir, there are parts in the question paper. For example, part A, part B, and part C. Part A has question 1, 2, 3, 4. Few of the questions has sub questions 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay. So, sir, tell me one thing. Which question should we answer the first? Or if I have answered question number 3 at the starting of the page, at the starting of my answer sheet, will the examiner reduce any marks for that? Because I have not started from question number 1, I have started from question number 3. So the answer is, examiner will not reduce any marks provided that you are following a rule. Which rule is that, sir? See, it does not matter which part you start from. I would always suggest students, please start from the part where you are confident, very confident with the questions. When you scan the question paper, if you find that part A, part B, or part C, any of this part, any one part is very easy for you, start with that part. Now, which question you start from, which number you start from does not matter at all. But it is always suggested whenever you start a part, for example, it is part C that you are starting with, always try to answer all the questions of part C. So what will happen if I don't answer all the question of part C? For example, if I answer question 2 of part C, then I start answering question 4 of part A, and then I start answering question 3 of part B, like that. See, the sequence is not good. The sequence is not good for the examiner to judge you. Examiner को लगेगा कि इस बंदे को कुछ आता नहीं है. Examiner will think कि this guy does not know much, is not capable enough to get much marks. So the first impression is always the last impression, you know this. So from whichever question you start does not matter, but there should be some sequence. For example, if you are starting with any part which you are very much confident with, always try to answer all the questions of that particular part. इससे क्या होगा सर? इससे you will get additional marks. ठीक है sir, is it written anywhere? It is not written anywhere. But from the past experience, from all my students, there are several students of mine who got 18 marks. Maximum marks that my students scored is 18 marks, which is for moderation. या फिर which is, just grace marks, you can say. 18 marks. This is not any kind of grace mark. What institutes say is, whenever the question paper is very tough, the examiner, as per your answer, whatever you are drafting, the examiner will see and check your answer paper, and if he feels that you deserve some extra marks, he will grant you extra marks. So there are a lot of students who scored a lot of extra marks in the examination, even without answering the correct question. Got it? But this extra marks comes with a cost. What cost is it? You have to make sure that you impress your examiner with your answer paper. Okay? The first thing which you have to do is, you can answer any questions from page 1. Any question. It is not necessary you start with question number 1 itself. You can answer any question, from any part. Understood. But make sure whichever part you start with, you try to answer all the questions of that particular part. If you're starting with part C, then try to answer all the questions of part C. That is why I always suggest before you start writing, you go scan the entire paper for at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes you invest in scanning the entire paper. Which questions is easy, which question is very much, which part is very much easy for you. Now, ये बहुत difficult हो सकता है for those students who are thinking, hey sir, how can I read the entire paper in 10 minutes? I will show you a technique to understand and read the question paper in 10 minutes. Especially when the question paper is of company law, there are huge case laws. There are huge case laws, huge questions. How do you answer that? Right? How do you recognize ki, okay, this question is from this section, this question is from this chapter? How do you understand that? I'll teach you a method where in 30 seconds you can answer any question. You can understand, okay, this question is from this section and this question is from that chapter. Provided that you have studied the entire subject properly. Students who have studied very well, this video is for them. Understood? You know, you have read the entire sections, you have read the entire chapter, you are confident enough, but you have to identify which question belongs to which section, which question came from which chapter. If you can identify that within 30 seconds, then you can identify the entire paper within 10 minutes. Right? So this is the technique which we are going to talk about in this video. Understood? Okay. This is clear, I guess. ये पहला part तो clear हो चुका है सबको कि which question should I answer? Will the examiner deduct my marks if I answer random questions? You can answer random questions, no issue. But if you want some additional marks, some marks which the examiner may think after reading your answer paper that this guy is eligible for some additional marks, then I would always suggest go with a sequence. Now that sequence can be of your own choice. You can choose any part, but whichever part you are choosing, make sure you answer that part. You should not write like this. This is a very, very bad presentation skills. For example, 2-1 you are answering at first page, at page 1. Okay, you are answering 2-1. Suddenly on page 2 you are answering 2-3. 3, question number 3, 2. Okay, clause 2 you are answering that. Question number 6, sub questions na, for example, sub question 4 you are answering. So first question this, second question this, third question. This is a very bad way of presentation. The examiner will be very much stressed out for checking your answer paper, and he will not feel that he should give you some additional marks for your answer because you're not eligible enough. So make it easy for the examiner to check. When the examiner is in a good mood, when the examiner is fine with your answer paper, he does not have to invest much time in reading which question, which chapter. When you go sequence wise properly, then he is very much interested in your paper. He gives additional marks. He tries his best to give you more and more marks. That is the thing. Am I clear? I hope that I am very much clear about it. Okay, so whenever you're starting with your answer paper, start with any part of your own choice, but make sure try to answer those questions, all the questions of that particular part in a sequence way. For example, part C you are starting in page 1, no problem. Question number 1 you have to attempt, 2 you have to attempt, 3 you have to attempt, 4 you have to, by chance for example 4 you can't attempt, leave it. At the end of the paper you attempt that, no problem. But try your best to answer all the questions of that particular part. Understood? And that is why you have to recognize the questions, which question came from which section, which part. So in today's video we're going to learn that in 30 seconds how can you answer any questions very, very fast. Okay, so this is the question paper of new syllabus. Okay, new syllabus question paper. This is of December 2024. Now in this question we will analyze. Now see, the question paper is drafted in a way where every question is not same. Some questions are different. For example, I'll tell you. For example, question number 1. If such question comes, it is very easy for you. What kind of question, sir? If the question if the question gave you a huge case study, this is the entire case study, okay? This is the entire case that the question gave you. This is the entire thing is a question. Here they are asking A, B, C, D, E. This you can answer very easily. How? Because the question is very direct. The question is not very difficult. The question is not trying to mess around with you. The question is very direct. For example, this one. Explain the effect of the change in the company's name. So it's very clear. The question is asking about the effects, what happens if we change the company's name, and advise the managing director on where the supplier's application for dismissal of the case is tenable. This you can answer after reading the entire case study, right? So, sir, if such kind of questions you are attempting with, it is very easy to understand, okay, what the question is asking. But for example, if I go to question number 2, this is the paragraph. Okay, this is a simple paragraph where these short paragraphs are those questions where the examiner will try his best to divert you from the main question. If you start reading from here, NSG Limited created a charge in favor of Bank A for a loan it took, and the particulars of the charge have already been registered with the Registrar of Companies. Later, Bank A transferred and assigned this charge to Bank B as part of a loan portfolio without altering any of the terms. See, it is time consuming. Yes or no? Time consuming. How can you answer this question within 30 seconds? It is not possible. So you have to identify from which section this question came from. This you can identify from, you have to go at the bottom of the question and start reading from where you can cite a full stop. For example, here, if you can see, here it is a full stop, right? And here you can start with, okay? From here you can start. Are there any compliance requirement? This is the main part of the question. Are there any compliance requirement related to the registration of charges? Registration of charges. You understood. By reading the bottom of the question, only the last line you understood from which section. So students can understand, okay, this is from section 77 charges. Right? While you are scanning the paper in this 10 minute, which I told you earlier. See, 10 minute में पूरे question को scan करना है. कैसे? Like this. This is the method of scanning the entire question in 10 minutes. This you can answer. Charges 77. Right? Again, when we go to this question, question B. Question B is another case study. Just go at the bottom of the question and see what is it asking from you. As the company secretary of PTR Limited, how would you respond to the company's proposal to adjust the debt against the dividend payable to Abbas in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act? So this is the main question. The main part of the question is proposal to adjust the debt against the dividend payable to Abbas. Means there is a shareholder who has some debt and the company may be trying to launch some dividends. And the main question is, can this debt be adjusted to the dividends or not? This is the main question. Tell me which section. This is from Article 84. Article 84. This is a difficult question. You may not know. That's why I'll write it down. Article 84 of Table F. Students who have learned this entire thing can, answer this very quickly. Schedule 1. Article 84, Table F, Schedule 1. Talks about adjustment of your debt with your dividend. Okay? This is the question. I can answer the entire question right now, but the main motto of this video is to make you understand how can you recognize a question very easily. How can you recognize a question within 30 seconds, right? Here it is. Calls in area 3,000, unpaid securities premium 5,000 and other debts 2,000. So person who have read the entire Companies Act properly, they know that calls in area can be adjusted, unpaid security premium can be adjusted, but other debts cannot be adjusted. Right? So anything related to the shares can be adjusted. For here is calls in area and unpaid security premium. Both are related to the share. And those shares, for those shares, dividend is being declared. So dividend is your profit, right? Dividend is your, batao na, Bhagwan ka den is your dividend. So if you are having any kind of arrears and the company knows that you have not paid properly and company is trying to pay you dividend for that, company will adjust your unpaid amount with the dividend, right? So if the company is launching 10,000 rupees dividend, then 3,000 and 5,000 will be deducted from it because these are the areas. So this is the entire question. Basically, we are trying to understand which question we can identify within 30 seconds. Next question, we will go again. This is another case study type. This will consume some time. So we will go to this paragraph, big paragraphs, which are very difficult for you. For example, D. Okay. We'll go to the bottom of the question and then understand what is it trying to ask. Who is the competent authority to appoint the inspector to conduct the investigation? Explain with reference to the provisions of Companies Act 2013. So here the question is basically asking about an inspector who can conduct the investigation. Now, this is a typical question where you have to read the entire question. Not every question can be done within 30 seconds. Few questions are there which you have to read the entire question. So this question is asking, the debenture trustee of DC Limited has observed that the company's management is suspected of shifting of funds, leading to financial loss for the debenture holders. In this situation, a valid reason for the debenture trustee to make an application to the tribunal. So the debenture trustee is making an application to the tribunal for some kind of what? Investigation. For some kind of investigation. So the main question is investigation. The main question is the situation a valid reason? What situation? The situation is this, that the company's management, typically the directors, the company's management is suspected of shifting of funds, utilizing the funds for other purposes, for a fraud purposes. Understood? So in this case, the debenture trustee, because debenture को protect करने का किसके पास अधिकार है, किसके पास right है? To the debenture trustee. The debenture trustee is thinking to file an application to the tribunal. So the question, number one question is the situation valid? Yes or no? The answer is yes. The situation is valid. First. Second, is the debenture trustee competent to make such application to the tribunal? Answer is yes. Debenture trustee is competent. Sir, section number बता दो. Section number तुमको पता नहीं है? 213. Section 213. Investigation on company. Investigation on company. Investigation on company for what? For fraud, unlawful conduct. ठीक है? These are the reasons. So this is the section number. This may be a difficult question for you. Section 213. Don't worry, we will go to the easy questions. Again, okay, let's go to some other questions. Question number 3, for example. Question number 3 starts from here. Okay, question number 3. We'll go to question number 3B. Itna bada paragraph, no time to read the entire question. 10 minutes will be over very quickly. So we have to go to the bottom of the question. Examine. You have to cite, you have to find some kind of comma, some kind of full stop. Then you can understand, okay, from here the question starts. I mean, the main question starts. I can see a comma over here. Okay. Examine the feasibility of reopening of accounts and recasting the financial statement. This is the main question. Reopening of accounts, reopening of books of account. बताओ ना कौन सा section है? Section 130. Section 130. Right. So students who have learnt the entire thing properly, they can answer this. Right. So by reading the end of the question, you can understand, will you be able to answer this question or not? Have you read this section or not? If not, then go to the move on. Next question. Okay, next question. Chalo, 4B we will do. 3A we have done. 3B we have done. Next question 3B 4B. See, 3C question is very direct. Those direct questions you will not find any problem. Direct questions you can understand, okay, this question is from this section. Direct question, for example, like this, short questions. This is very easy. They are talking about sweat equity shares. You don't have to understand. You don't have to bang your head, right? But you have to bang your head on these questions. You may have to bang your head on this question. This kind of questions which are very much, see, if the questions are like this, sub questions, it is very easy to understand which section this questions is being asked from. But if the questions are like this paragraph format, it is very difficult. You will lose a lot of time. See, entire thing is a paragraph format. What you have to do? You have to go to the bottom of the question. Additionally, identify and elaborate on the key factors the tribunal will consider before issuing an appropriate order. So here, some mischievous thing has occurred. Now the tribunal The question is identify and elaborate on the key factors the tribunal will consider before issuing an appropriate order. The tribunal is going to give some kind of an order. You have to list how to identify and elaborate on the factors where the tribunal may give an appropriate order. The second part of the question is justify your answer with reference to, this is very common. Justify your answer, this is same thing. Okay, so by reading this question you will have some confidence. अच्छा ट्रिब्यूनल क्या क्या फैक्टर देखेगा. इट इज़ वेरी इजी. ट्रिब्यूनल कौन से फैक्टर्स देखेंगे, ये सेक्शन 230 में आता है. ठीक है, एनसीएलटी का पावर, ट्रिब्यूनल का पावर, ट्रिब्यूनल का क्या पावर, और ये कॉम्प्रोमाइज एंड अरेंजमेंट स्कीम से रिलेटेड है. देखो तुमको यहाँ पे दिखा नहीं होगा, मुझको दिख गया. रिक्वायरमेंट देखो, स्कीम ऑफ एमलगमेशन. ठीक है, अगेन सी मर्जर एमलगमेशन, करेक्ट. So this is related with section 230. Here you can understand like this you have to be. सर ऐसे आपके जैसे स्किल कैसे बनेगा सर, डेवलप कैसे होगा? By answering more and more questions, writing practice, test वगैरह वगैरह करते करते you will reach here. It is not that easy. Understood? This is a very very simple way how you can identify the questions. If the question is one liner, it is very easy to understand and very easy to answer also. One liner questions are very easy. But if the question has a paragraph, then it is difficult, right? In those cases, you have to read the bottom of the question. For example, here, discuss the above scenario in the line. So bottom of the question is saying that read the entire question, then answer. So in such cases, you have to read the entire question. XBRL chapter. Students may understand, okay, this question is from XBRL. Have I read XBRL or not? If no, then move on. Next question. See, such kind of questions are very easy. I mean, these small questions, right? The Companies Act provides certain protection to employees during the investigation of company affairs. These are general questions you can answer very easily, right? You are required to clarify these points with reference to provisions. Explain the meaning of member. So these questions are very easy. Short questions are easy. Broader questions, long questions, if it has one-liner questions, it is very easy. For new syllabus, it is very easy. Nowadays, one-liner questions are the only questions which is being asked in the examination. Okay, one-liner questions. Wherever you can see, you will see one-liner questions only. Very easy. Such kind of questions are very easy to identify from which section these questions came from. Got it? This is talking about secretarial auditor. सीधा एक नजर में ही तुमको पता चल जाएगा. Again, draft a specimen notice. These small questions are very easy. You don't have to worry about it. Explain the requirement for constitution, composition, functions of stakeholders, relationship committee. Okay, these small questions you will not take much time to answer, to identify. लेकिन long questions तो time लगता है. तो long questions में क्या करेगा हम लोग बताओ? We will go to the bottom of the question and find out what the question is actually asking about. In this way, you will be able to read the entire question within 10 minutes, and then you will understand from which part should I start, part A, part B, or part C. Understood? This is a very very important thing, very very important suggestions. Many students don't know and they waste a lot of time. So for those students, if you want to get some additional marks, choose a part which you are very much confident about. Answer all the questions from that part. Then you will receive some grace marks, additional marks. So in this video, we have learned कि how to answer any question in 30 seconds. ऐसे ही मैं बहुत सारे videos लाऊंगा and then it will be very beneficial for you. Any student who is interested in chapter wise test or mock test, you can check the description of this video. There are a lot of links over there. You can go and register yourself and give a test before you sit in the examination hall. क्योंकि अगर आपने एक बार भी टेस्ट नहीं दिया एग्जामिनेशन में बैठे हो ना, तो यू माइट नॉट बी एबल टू आंसर ऑल द क्वेश्चंस. सो प्लीज डू गिव योर मॉक टेस्ट. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है वो. ठीक है, आज के वीडियो में इतना ही भाई मेरे. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. हैप्पी लर्निंग गाइस. बाय बाय. टेक केयर ऑफ इट. एंड इस वीडियो से अगर कुछ भी तुमको बेनिफिट मिला है तो जरूर लाइक करो एंड शेयर टू योर फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. हैप्पी लर्निंग गाइस. बाय बाय. टेक केयर. जय हिंद.